So I feel like we're going to be one of the only few companies that are going to say something like this. I make changes to the Ecodiesel tune almost daily, sometimes multiple times a day, sometimes only a couple weeks, but we're constantly testing out new theories and new ideas when it comes to tuning and what it takes to make the Ecodiesel make more power, drive better, whatever. Currently, let's see here. We went heavy on the trans tuning and made it so that the truck would downshift in every gear. By downshifting in every gear, it brings vehicles to the stop sooner. It makes it so you're not pushing through your brakes. It is making so your brakes last longer. It's not bad on your transmission at all. So what we do is we take my personal vehicle that we're doing all the testing on, and I drive it around town, I drive it on the highway, drive to Pikes Peak, drive to New Orleans, drive to San Diego, drive it to Wisconsin, drive it across country, and things that I like and dislike, I go in and I modify them. So what we'll end up doing next is we'll end up going in and taking the lower part of first gear and make like the low throttle percentage and make it upshift early. And then, so it'll upshift early at like 5% throttle, but it'll upshift late at like 10 to 20% throttle. This allows us to drive through parking lots without the truck being jerky. So there's all kinds of small changes on things like that we're doing. There's changes that we're making to timing. We're going wide open throttle. We're checking where the boost is at. We're checking where the vane position is at. We're checking where the timing advance is at. And we're going back to the tables and making adjustments to make more boost in certain areas, make the truck even more responsive from a dead stop, things like that. Fuel mileage, doing whatever we can to see if we can get even more fuel mileage out of it. We've made changes to the transmission and the engine tables to make it more reliable, make it so you're not tearing up bottom ends on the truck, making it so that you can put less pedal and make it to more places. One of the biggest problems that the Ecodiesel has is it upshifts too fast. You're doing 50 miles an hour in 8th gear, and then you're lugging, and then you're tearing up the bottom end. The last thing we want to do is tear up the bottom ends of people's vehicles. A big change. Anyone in cold weather who has had issues with your remote start, we have the remote start fixed installed in our newest file. So when extremely cold weather, take this off, I can't see shit, they're all dirty. When you use remote start in extremely cold weather, it will work now. We changed the glow plug time, the glow plug voltage. We changed a lot of settings on that. So for those of you who have had boost leaks and things like that have put your truck in limp mode, we are currently working on removing the limp mode from that specific code. So hopefully when you blow you have a small intercooler leak or whatever, you can still make it places, without the truck completely shutting down on you. So there's all kinds of things like that. We're going to try to get our hands on a computer that has the tone ring change to it, so that way we can make some modifications, so that way the vehicle's still drivable if your tone ring fails. There's all kinds of stuff that we're working on that is like that. We removed a lot of the pilot timing, and then there's too much chatter. I don't really like the chatter. It's annoying, the clatter, whatever you want to call it, the knocking. So we found a way to add pilot timing back without having to worry about it eating up our fuel economy. There's so many changes that we're making daily on adjustments of this. Right now, my def gauge is set to 0. One of the things I'm working on now is possibly moving the def gauge to 75% for now. Just because I think it looked better than 0, and then obviously GDE does 50, so we don't really want to match what they're doing. So I'll figure 75 would be kind of nice. We are still working on the patch for the shift on the fly tuning. Once that has been released, that's going to be kind of a big deal. We'll have to get on the dyno and get specific numbers for each level. But we want to make sure that it's 100% perfect and 100% true switch on the fly, where you can literally let off the throttle and switch tunes while moving down the freeway. That way, when you want to fuck with someone, or you're pulling a trailer and you're going up some big mountains and you want to kick the power off a little bit on the truck. After the shift on the fly is corrected and done, one of the next things we're going to be introducing is more than likely turning the depth gauge into a boost gauge. If we're able to nail that down properly, I'm going to get with a company on possibly making a boost gauge insert for the depth gauge, so that way, and we'll shoot a video of us taking apart the cluster and swapping it out. That way you actually have, it'll actually say boost and everything right there. From there, we are looking at installing some sort of a launch control system. Now, obviously, that's going to be more for people that want to play with these trucks, but you know, at the end of the day, we're not giving up on the performance of these trucks at all. So with that being said, my personal truck here, we're really aiming to make quality power with it. We're going to push it as hard as we can, stock internals, until the motor comes apart, and you know, show how much power we can make on our tuning before the motor literally comes unglued. So that's going to be kind of a big deal when we get there. You know, the end goal for the truck is to make 600 to 700 wheel horsepower when I'm done with it. You know, and at the end of the day, a goal's a goal, and most of us unfortunately don't reach our goals. But business is doing well. We have a lot of quality customers when it comes to these trucks. So I feel like there's a little bit more push to innovate and make things better for them. Those of you that are still watching, there's something that I started over a year ago that I have not finished, but I am considering getting back into, and that was having a gear set that fits in the factory front differential that goes all the way up to a 456 that can be swapped out. So that's something that we were really pushing hard on when I had my 19 Hemi, because I had 37s and 392s, and the 8-speed just could not keep up. It was awful. These trucks are a little bit different. You know, I got a 355 in here right now. If I put a 392 in here and a 37, it would be a hell of a lot easier to drive than a Hemi with 392s and 37s. You know, so something that is on our radar is we are sending a turbo out to a company over by Waco, who is going to strip the turbo down for us, determine what can all be done, what parts are all usable, and then we're shooting to make 350 wheel horsepower on a upgraded turbo. You know, from there, once we figure that out, we're going to be looking at twins and then compounds. The fast pump, we're waiting on one more part to be built so that we can install the the CP3 system, which from there we'll develop tuning for it and come up with some sort of package deal to get the tuning with the CP3 itself. I'm trying to think what else we got here. So we're fast pump I'll be installing. I got a GNR sump pump. At some point I'm going to buy a cold air intake. I'm not going to, you know, develop one. At that point it would just be dumb, I think, for me to try to create my own. There's enough Rams out there. We did the CFT oil catch can, so we're excited to see how that's going to go. I'm trying to really think what the next level is. I know that I'm really dead set on getting a torque converter made. I am dead set on getting a upgraded crankshaft made. There's a lot of things that we really want to do to these trucks in such a, you know, not enough time to do them. So if anyone knows anyone that works for a company that builds cranks, torque converters, things like that, just let me know. Hook me up with somebody that I can contact so we can get that stuff taken care of. You know, I really want to make headway on these trucks to continue to build a good market, so that way, you know, every time we go online, it isn't just people talking about how crappy the Ecodiesel is and this and that, and the motors are junk and they're blowing up. Look, they've been in Maseratis forever. No issues. The issue is we have a 6,000-pound pickup truck lugging down the freeway, and it's tearing the motors apart. So, you know, our tuning has been geared to prevent that lugging and prevent the motors from being torn apart. I'm doing 70 right now. Where the hell are my RPMs? 1,750 RPMs, 1,700 RPMs. That's really the lowest kind of you want to go. Anything lower than that, you're really pushing it. So we do a lot to increase boost in these areas, so that way it keeps the RPMs up when you're going up hills, to prevent lugging, and also prevent unwanted downshifts in annoying areas. Like you're almost top of the hill and fuck downshifts. Super obnoxious to have to deal with that. I'm trying to think what else we did on the tuning lately. I did a bunch of stuff on the computer today. I think we made some pretty big leaps and jumps on some of it. We were able to get even more timing advance out. We were able to change some of the parameters on the timing. I'm going to try and get a little bit more boost up top. It looks like, I forgot what it said we were hitting. I think I can look at min-max log. Let's see. Yeah, so maximum I've hit in the last few days for boost was 24.1 psi. They can take up to 30. Maximum vane position 96%. Maximum timing advance 26.4 degrees. So we weren't able to do that before, so that's pretty impressive. Maximum engine coolant temperature was 219 while towing. Absolutely awful. Maximum fuel rail pressure 30,624 psi. Maximum boost, like I said, 24.2. Maximum RPM 4,100 RPMs. Maximum miles per hour reached since I've in the last couple weeks was 105 miles an hour. Engine oil temperature while towing 232. A lot of this stuff we're definitely working on changing. Maximum battery voltage 16 volts. Maximum EGT maximum I've ever hit was 1,563, and that was at the top of a completely wide open situation going down the freeway, and I mean wide open. So pretty happy with that. That, you know, yeah, we can break 1,500 at wide open, but through standard towing and things like that, we're holding really quality EGTs, and a lot of that stuff's going to come down when you're talking about the bigger turbo and other things like that, because we're giving it the ability to flow a little bit more air out of it, especially when we start getting into the water meth. We've kind of really dropped the ball on the water meth right now. I got to buy a different controller and make a few more changes to the water meth. Don't get me wrong, we go through, I mean, I'm only using water right now because I'll go through 7 gallons of water before I even go through a tank of fuel. So you're talking 500 miles and we're talking less than, 7 gallons of water. So I'm really tearing through the water. So we're going to use a controller and have like a boost set point of like 12 or 13 psi, and then like a max at like 30. So that way the water is a little bit more controllable, so it's not just dumping all the water in at one time. So again, that's a little bit farther down the road. I know personally for this truck, I'm looking at upgrading it to air suspension, which obviously for most of you that's not an upgrade, but it is warm down here in Texas, so I really don't have to worry about them freezing up. I'm just sick of this thing riding kind of like my Cummins did. I think that's really honestly about it. So I'll just say at the end of this video, recommendations for people. If you're going to go with tuning, you're going to want the engine and trans tuning together. It is going to be the most reliable thing that you can do for your engine. If you're going to go with a monitor, I highly recommend the Banks 1.8 or whatever this thing is here. Hold on. I bought it from someone on the page and it has worked absolutely awesome. Oil catch can, I would go with CFT. Other fabricated parts, I'd go with CFT as well. For delete parts, if you need delete parts, I would get some from me or just go on eBay and delete parts. If you're looking for a muffler delete, you can go on eBay and buy a muffler delete for a Hemi truck. It may require small modifications to work on your truck, but it's going to be the closest possible for what you need, because most exhaust is Hemi parts to begin with. Trying to think what else I would recommend people. I don't know, AFE or S&B for the air intake. Trying to think here. We're going to be doing an intercooler relocation kit at some point. We'll do intercooler hard pipes at some point, unless a company makes some that I like, and then we'll just avoid making them altogether. Thermostat. We're going to be releasing a thermostat hopefully here soon. That through some testing we'll hopefully be able to see some good gains there. So let me go back to my screen here. So right now we are not running a thermostat at all. So no thermostat in this truck. It is 80 degrees outside. This truck has been running for an hour and a half. We just spent, I don't know, 20 minutes driving down the freeway, 70 to 80 miles an hour. And you can see my coolant temp's 167, trans temp's 177, oil temperature's 176. Obviously, this is not something that you want to run in the wintertime because your truck will never get hot. But in the summer, we have had zero issues with it. The restriction on the coolant on this truck is actually pretty heavy. Most vehicles, if you take the thermostat out, they'll actually end up overheating. These trucks, they won't. So if you pull heavy and you're worried about your truck, you can pull out the thermostat. You just need to make sure that it's bled properly and you'll be fine. And we're gonna run the truck like this until we get the thermostat we want in, which is gonna be 194 degree thermostat, which you might not even be able to hit 194. My truck barely goes over 190 unless it's super hot out or I'm pulling something or just driving like a dickhead. So, you know, within the next week or two, we'll have the thermostat in. We'll be able to test that and kind of see where it goes when it starts getting hotter out here in Texas. And with that being said, the thermostat may even require holes punched in the thermostat as well for flow. Like I said, it's absolutely very restrictive. Anyone who's had the thermostat out will be able to see how bad the restriction is. I mean, just sitting here, the coolant temperature is just crashing. It's down to 160 right now. But here's the thing, the oil temperature is only in the 170s, which that by itself is just amazing to keep that oil temperature down. Even the trans temperature is 10-15 degrees lower than it normally is, so pretty happy about that in general. I'm trying to think of anything else that we've done recently to help things out on the truck. I think that's honestly, it's about it. We have a lot of people interested in parts and moving forward and creating new things. So if there's a part that we haven't talked about or a part that you guys would like to see before another one, please let me know. I think that we're going to run this specific motor in this truck until the motor goes. And the thing with that is that if all the tuning that we have done has been appropriate on it, we may never have to worry about the crankshaft snapping in this truck until we start pushing some serious horsepower, which it'll be a while before we get there. But like I said, I'm trying to get my hands on a computer with a tone ring recall done. If any of you guys have one of those, you can part with the computer for a short period of time, so that way we can see what was exactly changed, so we can kind of program that into all of our tuning in the future. Let me know. Those of you who haven't seen the announcement, we can modify some PG3 files that you have been sent by previous tuners. We don't take any information out of them, but we do rewrite our information into the file and send them back, and we've had good results with that working properly, which will speed up the tuning process for a lot of people. We've had a lot of happy customers with that. You know, I'd like to say hopefully within the next few months we'll be able to release the PG3 as well for those of you who really want to have the handheld. I guess just be patient. And like I said, today's Easter, and we do have a coupon code on our Facebook business page for $100 off for tuning for anybody who uses it. There's still a few more left on that code before it shuts down. So if you have any questions, feel free to message me. I have no problem responding or answering them.